In a recent SurveyMonkey study, we found 2/3 or 67% of employees say their companies have adopted a do more with less approach in the last 6 months. How are you personally navigating the do more with less challenge? How do you make those tough calls on what initiatives you are going to pursue and what perhaps goes on the chopping block? What's been the biggest adjustment for you and your team? Ashley, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think it starts with having a solid set of OKRs, not only at the team level, but at the company level, so that every team member can reflect on like, how does this connect to my team objectives and how does this connect to the company objectives? And then if the answer is no to either of those, it's on the chopping block. We have an impact versus effort matrix that we really like. So high effort, medium effort, low effort, high impact, medium impact, low impact, and obviously high impact, low effort gets prioritized. And scoring each of them really gives us a top to bottom, what can we get done that's going to make the biggest impact overall with the least amount of effort. And then for high impact, high effort, it really lets us know, okay, we have to start planning now because it's going to take a long time and a lot of effort, but it'll be worth it in the end. And then the adjustment for the team has really been measure everything. So we need to have an answer for why we are or aren't doing something, and being able to effectively communicate that to your team members in case it's something they really wanted to work on. You have to clearly be like, no, we can't work on it, and here's exactly why. But also to communicate to the rest of the company in like a quantitative and qualitative way. Again, there's fun things that we do that maybe we'll do again, but we have to have a reason on why we're not doing them right now. So measure everything and connect it to OKRs.
That's great. Julie, what do you have to add there?
Yes, great question and super relevant. We made some changes to our business recently and kind of had to go through this process, right? But I think one of the keys here is actually, it's not really doing more with less. It's kind of accepting that you actually have to do less with less in some situations and be okay with that. And to Ashley's point around prioritization, one of the things we did actually at the beginning of this year, we made some changes to the business and had to figure out, okay, what is our product roadmap going to look like with a different looking team? And so one of the things we did as an entire leadership team is we sat down and we built out business cases for every single one of the projects and initiatives that we were working on. And we kind of did it a little bit like Survivor style. We all got in a room together and really talked about, well, this is our challenge and this is what we're working on, the impact that we think it will have. And, over here, well, this is a really big opportunity and I think this could be huge for the business. And here, here's our analysis as to why. And so not only did we end up in a place that we kind of knew what was on the bottom on the chopping block, but we also were really able to do this in a collaborative way. So, by the end, some teams were like, okay, no, forget about mine. Theirs is definitely better, right? And it actually made it, a situation that could and is, challenging in a lot of ways. It kind of unified the team around it. It created empathy among the different roles and functions because they actually saw like, here are some of the challenges that other groups are facing because of this too. And it made for a really, I would say, successful outcome in that scenario that we were all able to walk away feeling really good about, what the roadmap and the path was moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. I love the empathy approach you employed there, Julie. Colleen, how about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think similar to Julie, we have a slightly different perspective on the do more with less. It's a do more with the same, right? Of your resourcing isn't necessarily increasing in your business or whatever your remit may be in our world being customer facing, right? Our customers are also facing the same battle, which means they're automatically asking significantly more of all of their vendors, right? And so for us, how we deliver for our customers and what we ask of our team, definitely echoing what Julie and Ashley are saying of having tight OKRs. we've moved from each department having their own goals and their own priorities to every team in the business laddering up to the same company objectives that then roll out to, marketing or customer success or sales, and making sure that we're all in service of the same goals, as opposed to each team kind of marching to the beat of their own drum, so to speak, which was definitely much more common a couple of years ago. So it's definitely helped streamline, but the biggest kind of opportunity that we also have is, continuing to streamline what we're not doing, right, in favor of what we are doing. So the measuring of the ROI that was spoken about, and making sure we have clear OKRs, and ensuring that the teams know that the OKRs aren't necessarily all additive, but it also can mean if we're not focused on it, then the other things that seem really cool and exciting, or things that we can and should do, doesn't mean that something's coming off of our plate for this quarter or this half, or is this something that we prioritize down the road and maybe chip away at if we hit an OKR early? So really trying to think about that. And, of course, like anything, best laid plans, right? It still can get overwhelming and there are still added priorities, but trying to maintain that focus and communicating that to the team, so that way they know to roll up to us if there is a gap or there is something that they're not sure whether it's a priority or not, having those clear objectives and that clear escalation path.
Yeah, that's great. I think one of the hardest parts is deciding what really, really great ideas have to stay in the parking lot for right now, because they're just not the top priority. And we can revisit those ideas when we have the capacity or bandwidth, for sure. The one thing, Julie, and you touched on this a little bit, is the idea, which I really try to stress with my team, the difference between activity and impact, and being pretty rigorous and reflective about the work that we're doing, and what is activity-based work versus what is high impact work, all in the spirit of, realistically, you can't do more with less. It's about doing the most important things with the resources and the capacity that you have. So I think that differentiation between activity and busy work, and then those things that are really, really high impact, can be another way to kind of really unlock that.